Hey everybody, happy Monday. Thanks for checking out the Aaron Advantage and this week's episode of Real Talk Real Estate. First off, I hope everyone had a fantastic and happy 4th of July. Just got back from vacation with my family, had an absolute blast. Went down to Panama City Beach, got to spend a lot of great time with my girls, playing in the sand and in the water, and got refreshed and I was ready to get back and get back to work. So I just want to say thanks to everybody who has seen the photos that I posted on my Facebook profile. I appreciate all the comments and the feedback I've been getting on that. But I wanted to get back to it and come back at you live tonight with the best possible information that I could. And if you may notice, I've changed up the way I'm working on my descriptions for these Real Talk Real Estate live episodes. So the link to the article where I found this information is actually in the description in the video. So you should be able to check that out. But tonight I'm going to be talking about things that you may not know that you don't know to ask. So, a lot of real estate agents don't really necessarily point these out to people who are thinking about buying homes, about questions they should be asking about the house that they're looking at. But I wanted to put these in front of you so that you can let your friends know or family know or anybody you know who's thinking about purchasing a home that they can check out this video. So make sure you tag them in the comments down below, like this video, share it with them, because this is good information for them to ask these questions when they're purchasing a home. One of the first things I want to talk about is, when was the home built? And that's a good question to ask because there's a lot of different factors that go into the age of the home as far as additional questions that you may think of that you need to ask. Here in Indiana, it's actually public record. We know what the age of the home was. In our MLS, we actually disclose the year that the home was built specifically on our data sheets. So it should be a really easy, simple question for your realtor to figure out for you. So if you want to know, just ask, hey, what year was the home built? If you check out any website where you're looking at listing information, you should be able to find that out pretty easily as well. But in addition to finding out when the home was built, you may want to ask what kind of updates have been done since the home was built. Obviously, if you're looking at new construction, you're probably not going to be too worried about any of the updates because, you know, something that's original to the home that's only 3-4 years old is probably not that big a deal. But if you're looking at a home that was built in 1970s, 1980s, there may be some additional questions that you want to follow up with that your agent may be able to help you get the information on. And one of those is, what kind of updates have they done in the mechanicals? Your major mechanicals of your home need to be updated every once in a while. That's going to be your heating, your air conditioning, your water heater, major things that are components of the house that you absolutely need to have in good working condition, or at least know that you should be able to budget to get new ones down the road. Not only that, it's a good idea to ask the question, how old are the windows? How old is the roof? Is there any other major updates that I should be preparing for that I'm going to have to factor into my budget when I'm moving forward? Not only that, has the listing agent factored those things into the price when they've put the home on the market? Sometimes people are going to go in and take a look at a house, and if they notice that there are things that are wrong, like, I'm going to lower my offer on this one because, I think the roof needs to be taken care of. If they're letting you know that on the front end and they've already got that priced in, you need to know that and still be looking to make sure that you're operating within your budget after you're going to go in and have to do those kind of updates. So those are some things to take into consideration. Now, I also mentioned the age of the windows. A good reason to ask that question is because your windows are going to have an impact on your efficiency on your home. So not only do you want to get an idea of the age of the windows, you may want to ask what the average utility bills are on the house. Because guess what? As I've mentioned in previous videos before, your utility bills are not factored into your affordability when you get your pre-approval. So knowing what your house payment is going to be and then factoring in those utility bills is going to be something that you want to take a look at before you ever make an offer on the home. Not only that, if there are updates in the house, you want to ask if there's any kind of paperwork on the stuff that they've got done. Sometimes there's warranties. You want to make sure that you have that information because if it's transferable, you want to be able to get that put into your name so that when you take ownership of the property, you know the people to call if anything goes wrong. Another thing, speaking of that, is there anything wrong with a house? Now, truth of the matter is, a lot of times we're not going to be able to tell you, oh yeah, there's all this stuff wrong with the house. Most sellers aren't going around telling people all the problems that they've had with their home unless there's certain defects that are required to be disclosed. Now, here in Indiana, if you have a property that's listed, you have to fill out a seller's residential real estate disclosure. Now, that property disclosure is going to be a document that kind of explains the condition of the property to the seller's knowledge. This is where they're going and telling you if they know the age of the roof. They're going to go ahead and let you know what appliances are planned on being included. They're going to let you know if there's anything specifically wrong with the property. They have to put that on there if they know that there's an issue there. So make sure that you're getting the seller's disclosure from your agent. Now, getting it's not enough. Read it. I can't tell you how many times I have people come back and ask me questions about what's included, what's not included. Hey, am I supposed to find out if there's water in the basement? Dude, it's on the seller's disclosure. This is one of those documents that I'm not just giving you to sign because I need a signature on it. This is the information that you need to know about the property. So always ask if there's anything wrong. Ask if there's any known defects in the property, because guess what? If they disclose it, you absolutely are going to not be able to use that as a negotiating point moving forward, because if you sign that document and say, hey, I know that it's defective and I'm going to go ahead and sign this anyways, you can't ask them to fix it at that point in time. And if you do ask them to fix it, they can say no, and you can't use that as any reason to get out of the contract. So that's something you need to know. Also, if you got a property that's got a basement or it's got a crawl space, ask if there's been any water problems. Again, they may not know 100% if they got a crawl space, because there's a lot of sellers, there's a lot of people, myself included, who don't like getting in their crawl space. So they may not really know the answer to that. But there's going to be some certain telltale signs that you might be able to see, especially if there's a basement, that there's been any kind of water penetration. So ask those questions, pay attention, look around, see what information that you can find, because guess what? If you're not asking, they're not telling, and you're going to find out the hard way in the long run. Up next, what's included with the purchase? Now, this is another thing that I put on there that I said previously on your seller's disclosure. There's a list of all the appliances. They're going to tell you whether they're included, not included, or if they're defective or not defective. Guess what? It does not matter if they say on that seller's disclosure if it's not defective, because if you don't ask for it, they don't necessarily have to leave it at the property. So if you want to know what's included, ask the question. Don't just ask your agent, ask their agent as well. And if you're in doubt, make sure it's written in on the contract, because the contract supersedes all other documentation. So once you get it on there, that's the absolute best way to make sure that if it's an appliance that you want, it's going to be left at the house. Not only that, sometimes there's additional things that they plan on leaving that you may not want. So make sure if there's something like that, maybe there's an old appliance in the basement that maybe you don't want anymore, there's a piece of furniture that they intended on leaving. If you don't exclude it on the contract, that could be left as well. So make sure you find out all of that information prior to writing an offer on the property. Last but not least, are the sellers flexible? Now, this is a question that a lot of people might misconstrue if you just hear that on the front end, because the first thing you're going to think is, are they flexible on the price? Well, guess what? Most sellers aren't going to be like, oh yeah, I'm pretty negotiable on my price, because they don't want to give you any kind of negotiating power over them. They want to try to get the highest price they possibly can. But there are certain questions that you might be able to ask your agent, if you have one representing you as a buyer, who might be able to give you a little bit better idea on different kinds of flexibility a seller might have. First thing is, how long has the property been on the market? You know, obviously if the property's brand new on the market, it's been listed 1 or 2 days, it's probably not going to be something that's going to be super flexible on any terms other than what they have listed on the data sheet. So ask that question. It's going to give you a great idea on what kind of negotiating strategy you might want to adopt. Not only that, you may want to ask the question, have they had any offers? Now, this is a question I get all the time. Even if I ask the question, have you had any offers, and I get an answer that's, yes, we've had offers on the property, people automatically assume that that means I know the price that those offers were. I don't, and I'm not going to, because unless a seller directs their agent to tell me the prices that they have not taken on a property, I'm never going to have any idea of the price or the terms of those other offers. So asking about whether or not there have been other offers is a great way to kind of gauge what kind of flexibility the seller might have, because if they've had 5 offers and they obviously haven't gotten anything done, they're not going to be as flexible on their negotiations, probably on anything. That's going to give you a good indication of what you need to be doing whenever you make an offer on the property. Now, the other thing that people never take into consideration is the price is only one term of the contract. Real estate purchase agreements in our area are actually 8 pages long. There's a lot of additional terms that may have more importance over the price. Now, price is obviously going to play a factor in every single offer that a seller is looking at, but there could be other terms that you don't realize that might give you a little bit better position than another buyer who might make an offer on the property. Now, those terms could be types of financing. They could be whether or not you choose to have a home inspection. I always recommend it, but if you're an investor and you know you're going in, gutting the property and doing other things, and you plan on taking out walls and all kinds of other stuff, if you waive those inspections, sometimes that's going to give you a leg up on other buyers. Not only that, possession timing may be an important thing. Asking your agent those kind of questions always gives you a leg up on other people if they're going to take the time, represent your interests the best possible way they can, and go and ask the listing agent those kind of questions. So make sure you ask these questions and all the others in the link in the description above on that article. There's a lot of great questions there. Now, as I said, if you're looking at buying a home or you know anybody who is, make sure you like this video, share it, and also tag your friends who are thinking about buying in the comments down below. I think these are great questions that often get overlooked, and they can end up costing you money or maybe even lose you out on an offer that you make in the long run. So let me know if there's any additional questions you think are important to ask if you've been looking for a home down in the comments below. Or, as I always say, you can give me a call at 812-779-6273 or shoot me a message with any of your comments, questions, or any other topics you would like to see me talk about here live on Monday nights on Real Talk Real Estate. Thanks for checking out this video. I will be talking to you again soon.